welcome to another episode of Put It Together live stream. I'm Daniel G. Garza, your host, and welcome to the show. It is December 9th, 2023. Can you believe it's December? This year just went right really quick, and the holidays are upon us. Ha ha ha! Have you sent all of your Christmas cards? Have you done all your Christmas shopping? You know, this year, I have to be honest, this year, other years I can come online and be like, ha ha, I finished 2 months ago. But for some reason, this year just creeped up on me. I still have some shopping to do, but it's the second year that I get to shop for our godson, Junior, and that is so cool. It's such a different vibe from buying Christmas gifts for Christian, which we just realized that this is our 12th year together for Christmas. That's a long time in gay relationships, but it's the second with our godson, and we're so excited. We just ordered his ornament. I know it's a little late, but we just ordered his ornament. We decided last year for the first Christmas to give him an ornament for his first year, for his first Christmas. And then this year we decided to buy a second one. So we want to make sure, I knock on wood, that we remember every year to order one for him. We want to keep that tradition alive. If you're watching and you have godchildren, or if you have children, are there any traditions that you do? Maybe you want to share those with us during the show. We want to welcome everybody who's watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. If you don't mind sharing this on your page so that other folks can watch along with you, we'd really like that. If you're watching us on YouTube, do us a favor, scroll down, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It'll let you know every time there's a new show on the air. Where we got Christian and Daniel on Wednesdays. We've got Put It Together back on Saturdays. Next week I have a special, one of my good friends, James Swan's going to be here, but we're going to have an earlier show. Make sure you keep tabs of the announcements. Horoscopes on Mondays. Make sure you check those out on all my social pages. If you're not following the Card Diva for Monday horoscopes, why not? I'll tell you what's going to happen for you during the week. And the new series that I just started, we went on the pilot with this. We did a pilot episode with the series to see if it would work, and it seems to be getting a lot of traction. So it's hashtag Daniel's Days. And there's a couple of pages that I follow to get notice on what the days are. And one of those is, I just put it up here. I think I removed it. National Today. If you're now checking out nationaltoday.com, go check them out. They'll give you a view of all the days that are celebrated on the day. So special, not just national, but international days. So go check those out. Plus celebrities, sports figures, singers. It gives you a full list of whatever is being celebrated that day. So I started using that for Christian and Daniel's show for topics. And then I thought, why? There were some topics that I was like, these would make a cute little video. So I decided to start creating some shorts, and they're all over my social media now. And thank you for everybody who's following those, liking those, sharing those. I got my first stitch on TikTok, which I was so excited. One of my friends from Texas decided to stitch it because it was for Blue Collar Worker Day, and she's a blue collar worker, so she stitched that. So we're going to show one today at the middle of the show, at the halfway through the show. But anyway, enough of that. Let's. We have a really cool guest, and I'm taking a lot of her time. So let me tell you a little about her. Jonni Campbell is an actress, model, director, producer, mother of four, and founder of the nonprofit organization Differently Abled Entertainment. Jon-Lee was born in Alaska and got her first taste of the stage there at the age of 3, singing "Hey, Good Lookin," that's a cool song, at a large bluegrass festival. Her family moved to the States when she was 8. Jon-Lee was working as a CNA at her local nursing home in Oshkosh, Nebraska, when she wrecked her car on the way to work and was left a T12 paraplegic. After college, she started Luna Theater Company in 2012 to help raise awareness to different causes through the arts. The company did shows about domestic violence, diabetes, autism, organ donations, and a lot more. In 2019, she spent 10 months in the hospital, and it was during that time that she thought of what Differently Abled Entertainment could be. She started creating a community for disabled artists and other underrepresented groups to come together to gain the exposure needed to succeed in the entertainment industry. So without more, I'm going to bring over Jon-Lee. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show. For those of you that are always curious how I met my guests, yes, I've confessed. Some of my guests I stalk, and so I get them on the show. Not gonna lie, like it's all over. The people would, but actually, we met on Alignable.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know, Alignable, and I've said this in the show, Alignable is a networking um, business page. I always feel like it's LinkedIn if it were a party because you get to meet a whole lot of people and really network. We met on one of the meet and greets, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, for one of the meet and greet groups for the LGBTQ plus business owners group.
Correct. And
So yeah.
for those of you, before we moved on, I host or I'm the admin of the LGBTQIA2S business group and the Latinx groups. But if you're interested, if you're a small business owner and you're interested in connecting with other people, not just in your area, but across the country, just go check out alignable.com, find those two groups and submit, and all you got to do, and you'll find us there. Um, so let's start talking. We've chatted before. We've had time to visit before today, and I find your story. And then after I read your bio, I'm so fascinated with you. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to say, Jonni Campbell, tell us how you put it together.
Wow. Yeah, well, I've had kind of an interesting and tumultuous life. Yeah, I wrecked my car when I was 16, and but I've always loved the arts and, wanted to continue with that. And so, yeah, I just I have a phrase that, keep pushing on. It's like a little bit of a pun intended because of the wheelchair, always pushing. 'Cause, um, but it's just that's kind of, that people say one step in front of, one foot in front of the other. And for me, it's, just like one push at a time. Uh, because yeah, life can send you curveballs no matter what it may be. And yeah. I
Yeah,
just kind of try to keep on keeping on.
because as I was reading your bio, and for those of you who know Christian usually we go through bios together. Um, you're driving to work one day, and the universe says, "Hey, we're going to
Yeah.
change directions," quite literally.
Yeah.
Can we start there and then
Yeah.
move on to?
Yeah, I was a CNA, and that's a certified nursing assistant, and I was working at a nursing home at the time, and I was a junior in high school. And I just in order to get your CNA license, you also have to go through a lot of EMT training and whatnot. And at the time, I was thinking after college or after high school, I was planning on going to school to be a massage therapist. Um, and so I was taking physiology at the time, and I had it was a Sunday afternoon when I wrecked, and that Monday was going to be our midterm final. And so I'd been studying like all the muscles in the body and the nervous system and all the bones and all that for my final. And there was a lot going on in my life. At 16, life is pretty intense anyway. But, I broke up with a boy. I was going to school. I was working. Life was just kind of a lot for 16. And so I was on my way to work and I was driving too fast. I didn't really realize how fast I was going until I remembered a soft spot in the road. I lived out in the country. And the night before, I hit a soft spot and kind of fishtailed a little bit. So I remembered that spot coming up and I looked down and I was doing 110. So I took my foot off the gas. They teach you, you don't hit the brakes on a dirt road. And so, but I was still going about like 87, 88 miles an hour when I hit that soft spot, and it put me driver's side first into the ditch. and my car did 3 cartwheels and I was thrown. I broke my back when I hit the ground, and the car came down on my right shoulder and I was pinned under the car. I was conscious through it all. And luckily, through my training, through the EMT training and through all my studying and all that, like I was pretty aware of what was happening. I started talking to myself like a first responder. I was talking to myself in third person, like, Jon-Lee, you're going into shock, you've broken your back, like, so yeah, that's that's that story.
Wow. Okay, because that was going to be my next question, and you just boom it. Okay, for everybody out there, sometimes there's, which is why I love this show. There's parts that there's things in your bio. There's things we don't put in our bio, and then I just got chills. I was about to ask. Now I'm in like a shock. Like when you know how to walk somebody else through a traumatic situation, do you immediately go into fight mode? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, it's not the same. I mean, nobody's ever, no two things are ever the same, and no two people are going to respond the same time. And even myself, I may not respond the same way on a different day, who knows? But at that given moment in time, that is how I reacted. And that was my coping mechanism to, like, because when all the noise stopped and I'm laying on the ground, and honestly, at first it felt like I was on fire. I thought my legs were on fire. I thought there was flames, and I looked and there wasn't any flames, there wasn't any fire anywhere, but I couldn't move my legs, and I knew right away I had broken my back, and it was my nerves kind of freaking out. And so yeah, in that instance, I just, that's when I started talking to myself like in third person and explaining things to myself. And I don't know, I don't know if that's normal or whatever. Probably not, but that's how I responded in that moment in time.
And then I didn't. You were 16 at that
Hmm.
time. Wow.
Yeah.
Can can you, as a 16-year-old? I mean, I definitely don't want to take you back to like
Yeah.
stressful moments, but I feel like it's really important for our audiences because we're going to get to where you are
Mhm.
today, and I feel
Yeah.
like
The anniversary of my accident was actually 3 days ago. Actually, the anniversary of my first surgery after my accident to repair my spine was 25 years ago today.
today.
Today, yeah. The 6th of December 1998 was my accident, so that was just a few days ago, and then the 9th of December was my first surgery that I had, that they took me in and did an anterior spinal fusion, and like they put in a donor vertebrae. That's when they found out like how many pieces of my vertebrae there was, and like they quit counting at like 326 pieces of my one vertebrae. There's and you have 6 cervical, then 12 thoracic, and 5 lumbar. And I broke my T12, which is the 12th thoracic vertebrae. And T11 wasn't hurt, L1 wasn't hurt, but T12 like exploded until, yeah, those they quit categorizing it. They said it like 326 pieces of that, like one vertebrae. Just
Wow.
so.
Well, happy first surgery day. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
if
I
there's
kinda, it's celebrating life and celebrating,
yeah.
like, it's weird because I've had people like I on my rec day, that's what I call it. I'm like, "Happy rec day," like, every year, and then people are kinda like, "That's a little morbid, Jon-Lee," and I'm like, "Well, it's kinda like a second birthday, or just, an appreciation of life, an appreciation of what I have and what I didn't lose, I mean, I lost the ability to walk, and not that that's not a big thing, because it is, and there's definitely things that I miss about that ability, but overall, like, there's still, I still have lived a pretty full, interesting, productive life, and so yeah, you know.
And
I try to look on it, it could have been so much worse. I was driving 110 down a dirt road. The fact that I'm even talking and can do anything for myself is pretty amazing.
So, disclaimer, folks: do not drive 110 down a dirt road
Yes.
or any road
Yeah,
for that
don't do that.
matter.
Even down a highway, don't drive 110
Don't
down
do
a
that.
paved road.
But know that, like, and the way that I can associate is September 26, 2000 is when I was diagnosed with AIDS, and I celebrate it every year. And people were like, "Why do you celebrate the day of your diagnosis?" Like, because I could not be here. I was 110 pounds. I was almost dying, and I could not be here. But yet, the universe, God, life were like, "You got something else to do, dude. Like, we're sending you back out." And you're like, "But coach, look at me." It's like, what?
Yeah.
So before I move on from this, as a 16-year-old in the hospital, realizing, or first of all, if you can answer that too, but when did you realize, oh shit, this happened? And then as a 16-year-old, what was your thoughts in the hospital? Where was your state of mind? If
I
you can
was
remember.
really I was really blessed to have everybody around me reminding me that I was still me. Like in the my core, who I was in my soul hadn't changed. And so I was very, very lucky for that. It might sound very strange to people, but I kind of like it. Like I believe things are meant to happen, and things happen for a reason. And even the bad things, those are usually the things that we learn the most from. I do think that, I was meant to be in a chair. I'm meant to educate people. I'm meant to kind of shed a light on things. I do think that that is my purpose. If you want to go into yeah, like, okay, God or the universe or whatever it is, it's kept me here for a reason. And I think it's because I'm not afraid of kind of speaking up and speaking out and shedding a light where it's hasn't been shed. So,
Yeah, no, I
and I mean, it sounds weird, but I mean, I when I was young, my parents had a friend who had been in a chair. He could walk with crutches, but he also used a chair sometimes. And we'd go over to his house, and I'd mess around in his wheelchair. And one day, I couldn't find his chair, and I was like, "Where is it?" He had it put up because it was like a big gathering, and there was going to be a bunch of kids there. And he's like, "And my chair is not. It's not a toy." And I told him, I said, "But I'm not playing, I'm practicing." I said, "I think, I can be in a wheelchair one day, and you know, and so I want to get practice." And he came to visit me when I was in the hospital, like, not long after I got out of ICU. And he asked me if I remembered having that conversation with him when I was like 10 years old, 9 years old. And I did, and it was just, it was interesting. And not that I didn't ever struggle, or get depressed or be frustrated or, wish that it hadn't happened, or, because I have nobody to blame for any of it except for myself. There was no other drivers involved. There was nobody else around, you know? And so there isn't anybody else to blame except for me. But at the same time, like, I do think that that's where I was meant to be. Like, this is what I was, this is where I'm meant to be. Like right now in this moment, that led me to this moment where I am. Like, and it's been 25 years, which it kind of tripped me out the other day. I was like, wow, 25 years, 25 years. It's a long time. I'm like, but I would, as much as I would love to regain the ability to walk, I would never want to go back and like change it and wish that it like hadn't happened. I would never do that.
I can totally understand that. I'll give you this quick, just because this feels so powerful. Um, this was after I was diagnosed. This was about a year after I was diagnosed with AIDS. I had a dream that in my dream I was not living with HIV yet, and God had come to me and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you. I have a gift for you." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Like, God's giving me a gift." He's like, "It's not a typical gift, and you might not like it at first, but I think of all my children, you're the one that can carry this and do something with it. And for those of you, I was raised Catholic, so God has been part of my life forever. And I was like, sure, what are you giving me? And he's like, I'm going to give you AIDS. And I'm like, why would you do that? And he was like, because I know that if anybody can carry this with them and do something with it, it's you. And I went back and shared that at the support group, and they all thought I was crazy. They were like, God would never do that. I said, well, he gave me my dream and I believe him. And now we're 23 years later, and I'm doing like some amazing, I know I'm doing amazing work in HIV. Like I've been at it for 20 years. I'm an advocate. I've done a lot of work. It's all on YouTube, folks. Go check it out. And but I'm like you, like I know that if I could go back, people talk about the cure. Would you go back and be cured? I'm like, I don't know. Like maybe if it was available for me, but I wouldn't change my story. My story has made me the man who I am now. And why would I want to change that? So girl, I got you there.
Yeah.
That's a double snap moment right there. For everybody all those of you who are watching us, thank you for the likes and the hearts. We are chatting with Jonni Campbell on differently abled entertainment. So please ask your questions, make your comments. Any thoughts that you have, please share them on and we'll pass them along. Moving on, let's move on to get into work. So was this wasn't when differently abled entertainment came to you in the hospital, right? It was later?
Yeah. I mean, somewhat related to my spinal cord injury, because it's common for spinal cord injuries to develop sores. I have 4 children. When I was pregnant with my my youngest child, I developed a stage 4 decubitus ulcer on my coccyx, on my tailbone. And it took like 4 years to get a surgeon and to get that taken care of. And that was in 2019 that I went into the hospital to take care of that sore that I had developed. I'd never, I'd been very lucky as far as sores. I'd never really had dealt with sores before then. Um, or since then, luckily, I should say. But I guess I'm one that if I go for something, I get her done good. And so yeah, it was a very scary, I mean, it almost killed me, honestly, a couple of times because of blood infections and because of other things. I was facing the possibility of it not healing. If it wasn't going to heal, I was looking at spending the rest of my life in a nursing home away from my children. And so it was a very, very scary experience in 2019. But luckily I had a very good surgeon, and yeah, I spent 10 months in the hospital, which was not fun, but I came out the other side healthy. And I still have to do a lot of if I'm able to be in bed, my doctor's orders are I'm supposed to be in bed. And so I do spend a lot of my time in bed and working from bed. But other than that, like, I'm able to still go and do things again and all that also. And so it's a balancing act, and it's something that, I just have to be very careful, because even though I got like a skin graft and, like a skin flap surgery to close the sore, it's just once you've had a sore like that, it's just the tissue underneath is never as strong as it was before. And so there's always that risk of a breakdown or anything and stuff like that again. And so that's the only reason that I have to just kind of be like forever vigilant moving forward.
Gotcha. So I guess I skipped a part between 16, recouping, getting back into your life, and then differently abled entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
What was your life? Were you in art? Were you in entertainment? Like,
Yeah.
you were like, I'm still going to take over.
Yeah, it was interesting. After, like I said, I was very blessed to have people remind me that I was still me. And so I had to kind of fight with my high school in order to go back to school. At first, they thought that it would be better for me to just to get my GED. And I was like, no, I want to graduate. I want to graduate with my class. We're going to make this happen. And so I fought to make the high school, more accessible. And then they had to build a ramp for the stage for graduation. And so I also got to be part of the final theatrical production of the year, my senior year, also. And then in college, I was going to school. I was majoring in psychology, actually, and like minor in theater. But then I ended up getting a theater scholarship. And the director of the theater department, she was like, "You're very, very talented." I had stage managing experience from high school, but she's like, stage manager. She goes, "I would like to give you a scholarship to be assistant director of the theater department." She goes, "Because even though you are very talented," she goes, "I know you're going to, your talents as an actress aren't going to be enough to get you where you want to be in any kind of acting field, because the roles aren't there for an actress in a wheelchair." She goes, "So I'd like to teach you production, and I'd like to teach you, um, you know, directing." And so that's,
Well, Michael Ray, thank
hey,
you very
Mike
much.
Ray. Oh, thank you.
She is the best.
Um,
She is the best.
so yeah, she told me, she wanted to teach me directing and production, and so that way moving forward I could do things myself if I wanted. And I had a theater company for a few years after college because it was a struggle. There weren't roles. And and I had the theater company up until the end of 2018, once I found out what I was facing. Um in 2019. I found out like in August, September of 2018 what I was going to be facing. And so like I had like a few months, like 4 or 5 months to prep myself mentally and to prep my kid, and life too, because I had to, move with my kids and move my kids in with my mom and just do a lot of rearranging of my life in order to be able to be prepared to be in the hospital for 10 months.
Gotcha.
And it was during that time that yeah, thanks to Michael Ray, who was just commenting, and a few other people that were supporting me. And Michael Ray, I kind of helped, was managing, his acting when he was first starting acting, and a couple of the other bands and stuff like that while I was in the hospital. And it just, it was through people like him and other people that were helping keeping me sane by giving me stuff to do, because it's a lot when you're trying to manage a career and do things. And so it was through that and through Michael Ray that we started talking about, I said, this differently abled entertainment. And it just kind of went from there as far as what we wanted that to be and what that looks like. Michael Ray is also a disabled actor. He's an
Oh,
amputee. Yeah. And so I'm here in Tucson. And so yeah, it's just, we've kind of started putting together this community, and yeah, now here we are a few years
nice.
down the road, and it's become an official organization, and we're starting to do some pretty amazing things. So
Well, Michael Ray, first, Mike Ray, welcome to the show. And second, we would love to have your story and see how you put it together on the show. And then third, is there anything you've ever wanted to ask that you haven't asked? Here's the opportunity to ask her on the show. So this is a good
yeah,
chance. Post your question or your comments. For those of you watching, we're halfway through the show. We're talking to the founder of Differently Able Entertainment, Jonni Campbell. We're going to have more from her. But I also want to introduce our new segment, which is the celebrations. We, for those of you that watch the Christian and Daniel show, we talk a lot about the celebrations, what we're celebrating. And hey, today the show is being live on December 9th, 2023, and it is National Christmas Card Day is December 9th. It's a day to remember to get your cards together before Christmas. The first Christmas card was invented in the United Kingdom in 1843. It depicted a family raising a toast. Some recommend sending out holiday cards in the first week of December. However, it is still acceptable to send cards up until Christmas Eve. Some people have switched to sending digital e-cards or sending Christmas wishes via text. However, physical paper Christmas cards are still a staple of the Christmas period. Am I on your Christmas card list? I'm Daniel G. Garza. Thank you for listening. So get your Christmas cards ready. Feel free to send me some electric cards, and we'll make sure to share them on our shows. We have we have a question from Michael Ray. I'll be on HBO soon in a new series. Oh, well, excellent. Well, please, when you're able to share more, come on the show and talk about it. We'll be happy to help you. Put it together. Live stream is about that. It's about how you're putting your life together. And I believe that when we put our lives together, the ripple effect causes other people to either help them or show them the way to put their lives together, which is always amazing. So tell us more about different. We're going to be showing the web pages in just a couple of minutes. But tell us differently able entertainment. How does the idea pop in your head? What was the most impossible thing about it, and what was like, yes, I can do that moment? I know it's a lot of questions in there, but
well, it started from like I said, lack of representation. As you'll see here in a little bit on our website, we have some information on there about just the numbers of, representation. And it's over 26% of adults in America have some form of disability. Yet they're only represented in film and TV 1 to 2% of the time. And 95% of those roles are played by able-bodied actors. So it's just a huge, underrepresentation. So there's that. And then there's also the fact that as far as when it does come to, the disabled community being represented in film and TV, it's oftentimes the same kind of regurgitated story of injury or sickness, or, it's all about the disability itself and never really about the person. And that's one thing that I think society needs to be reminded sometimes, that people with disabilities, they're just people, just like everybody else. Some people have seen, obvious things going on, and some people have less obvious or invisible disabilities, but that doesn't mean that they're not still struggling, or that they still, don't have any, space to be properly represented and want to see themselves on the screen. Because, seeing yourself represented by people that actually represent you is huge. It does great things for the psyche and just for, esteem, and just to know that, you're not alone, and to know that there's other people that are dealing with things. And, it just kind of, like the saying, the struggle is real. It is, it's very much, and that goes across the board, no matter if you're a person with a quote unquote disability or not. So that's kind of.
Yeah, you're right. It's either like, yeah, you saved the town and now we'll sell Christmas trees again in this Christmas movie. Or, oh, let's feel bad for Michael and this will bring the whole town together. And
yeah.
And then in the end we kill Michael off because that'll make the movie sell more. And yeah, we're just normal people. And I'll say this, because HIV and cancer, I'm a cancer survivor, and being Latino are usually three of the groups that are left. There are that also, like the Latino, either we're the troublemakers that came across the border, or we've come to show the white town that Latinos are good people too. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But and HIV too, stories of HIV is usually, oh, we're so sorry, and they're the secondary actors, or they die to make the story sound better. And it's kind of like we are more than that. We're, like Mike said, We're just normal people. And we talked about this a little bit before the show started, our pre-production meeting. We were talking about Christmas Ever After with Ali Stoker, the movie. And I mentioned to you that, first of all, for everybody watching, I am a sucker for holiday movies, Christmas movies. I start watching like in August, and I don't stop till like February. So I'm a huge Christmas movie. And what I told you about that movie was one thing that I really liked was that she did not mention the wheelchair at all. The wheelchair was like a secondary character. It was just there for support. It wasn't there to be the highlight. Like, look at me, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not going to ruin the movie for anybody, but it's such a cute movie. And she sings, which I love the way she sings. But it was just, she's a writer in this movie, and just like, hey, I'm a writer coming to this town because I've been here all this time writing, and this is me, and I'm falling in love, and I have human doubts about relationships, which I was like, yes, girl, with tears rolling down my eyes. But what I'm trying to get with this is, does that make sense to you at this point? Like, the chair has just become the chair, like it's how you move. It's not who you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. People that know me, I have people that joke that, they'll tell me, oh yeah, I forgot, I forget about your chair, they don't see my chair anymore. And that's great. And that's, and yeah, like Michael Ray says, he'd love to be in a movie that, like, you see his chair, or his amputated leg, but you don't ever mention it. That's not the purpose of the story. And like that, yeah, you see the chair because obviously it's there, but that doesn't make the person. The prosthetic doesn't make the person. The wheelchair doesn't make the person. Whatever it is doesn't make the person. It's just a way to get around. It's just a mobility device. It's just a way in order to get from here to there. I jokingly, I hope this is okay to say, but I call my chair my ass. I'm like, oh, you can't forget it. But also, like, if somebody, I don't have push handles on my wheelchair because I don't really like to be pushed around, unless, if I need a little boost, then okay. But other than that, I'm like, you don't just go up to somebody and just grab their ass and say, oh, I'm just going to move you over here. Like, you just don't do that to people. And so
I laugh because as an anal cancer survivor, ass stories are really fun for me. So I love that. Right? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind somebody just grabbing my ass every once in a while, but I get it. But I get it.
Yeah, but with consent.
Yeah, I get it. But you're right. Like as we're talking, I'm thinking about all these characters that we see in movies, like Forrest Gump had Officer Dan, and like, but it was an able actor, but. They did his character development depended on noticing that he had lost his legs. Like that was
and there, like, sometimes there's an instance like that where it makes sense, and that you kind of have to have that, that transition of being able-bodied to being disabled. Then obviously you're going to need somebody able-bodied to represent that. But then there's also other movies, a movie that I absolutely love, it's one of my favorites, it's Saved. It was like a 90s film with Macaulay Culkin and Mandy Moore, and Macaulay Culkin plays a kid in a chair. And in the whole movie, he's in a chair. It's not about him being in a chair. It's just, that's the character's story, is he's in a chair. And it's like, that was a perfect opportunity for somebody to, actually be representing the disabled community. And I mean, Macaulay Culkin did a great job, and I understand why they put him in there because it sells tickets. But at the same time, like, that's a shift that I think we just need to see change. Because oftentimes you are told, well, there aren't any disabled actors that are talented, is like what I heard for like a long time. They're just like, why is this not a disabled person? Oh, because there isn't anybody that you can't say that. You can't say that out of all the millions of actors that there are out there, that somebody with an actual disability that you're trying to convey, like, that there isn't anybody out there that's good enough.
Yeah, and we know now, watching, like, there are. I mean, I remember the first time, and this is in a different area of, but um, his name was Rory Corey. Shit, and I forgot the name of the
Oh,
show. It was an old
yes,
'90s show. He has Down
Life Goes
syndrome.
On.
Yes, and he's an amazing actor. I mean, I
Yeah,
watched it for him. I watched it for him. I mean, the
yeah,
rest
he
of the
was
actors
great.
were good. But he was my hero. I was like, "You're doing everything, dude." So I'm just saying, well, I am talented. Use me.
Yep.
Yes, yes. Out of context, Mike, that sounds so weird, but yes. Within the story, it sounds, yes, we will use you. But I say we start writing a script and get some Mexicans and some people with cancer, and let's do something together, and we'll create something.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what we're wanting to do with, differently abled entertainment is produce more films. And, I mean, we do a couple of theater plays a year. We host photo shoots to kind of help build up people's portfolios. And last year we helped produce a feature length film and premiere it here locally. And we're really hoping that this next year we have some more feature length film projects, and scripts or little mini YouTube series or whatever it may be. We just want to start creating content that shows humanity, that shows, the Latino cancer survivor, that shows, somebody that's, an amputee, that's not what the story is about. It's just we're people,
Yeah,
like it could be a like a wide variety of different, backstories. But yeah, that's what we want. And I think that that's what people within the disabled community want, you
yeah,
know and I mean, it's we're on this huge representation, how, we all are recognizing the fact of how much representation matters and how much, especially within, people of color and how underrepresented they have been and how whitewashed Hollywood is, that's blatantly obvious. And so now, moving on like to the disabled community, which actually encompasses everybody. It doesn't matter, you know, rich, poor, old, young, what race, what gender, what sexuality, whatever. It doesn't matter. When it comes to the disabled community, we encompass everyone. We all races, we encompass everyone within the disabled community. And so that being the least represented like community that there is, like how is that even possible when we are made up of everyone?
yeah. And we're all just 1 degree away from anybody with anything. And like this coming from Christian, Glee's another show that had an able-bodied
Mhm.
actor playing a disabled student in a wheelchair. I actually thought he was disabled until I saw the actor on a show afterwards, and he was surprised. It's like, yeah, like like we were saying, we don't deny that they're great actors and they
Yeah.
portrayed the character well. But and I can understand Glee because they were part of his dream sequences where
Dreams, yes,
he was
exactly.
dancing and they needed him to.
Mhm.
I get it, but there are shows where, and I say this jokingly to people sometimes when they talk about Latino characters in movies where they are the love interest, and I'm like, we don't stop having lives because we crossed the border. Like we don't leave all our feelings at the border, and
Yeah.
and just like talking to you now is like you didn't leave your feelings, emotions, and talent in the hospital room after your accident. Like I don't know, but I guess I don't know. Okay, here's another comment. Have you ever found that disabled actors sometimes have a concern that by being cast, they will go from being a talented actor to being defined by their disability?
I think we're already defined by our disability. And so what I find is that we're so defined by our disability that people overlook my talent as an actress. They oftentimes, I've auditioned for parts that it's like, it's just a person that's like a receptionist or something like that. But you go in and they're like, "Oh, but we didn't imagine somebody in a wheelchair playing this part." And it's like, I sit at a desk, the character sits at a desk. Like, what difference does it make if I'm in an office chair or a wheelchair? but it like really kind of, it's too much for some people to really kind of wrap their heads around, that if it's not written specifically for a disabled character, then a disabled character cannot play that part.
Gotcha.
You know, and it's like, and my thinking is, unless they have to do the jumping jacks, you know, then I'm good to go. You know, like I can play these parts.
And I mean,
And
it's very realistic that receptionists are jumping all over the place.
yeah, yeah, you know, and I mean, and that's just one example, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
you know, you go to, you know, you go into audition for a doctor and they want you to play the patient because you're in the wheelchair, you know, like it's just, there's, you know, and because, you know, I mean, my wheelchair is, it's obvious, you know, I cannot cover it up. I cannot not use it, you know, because my legs do not function at all. You know, they're just there for looks, I tell people. You know, they're just there for looks. They're just there to be there. Other than that, they're useless. And so I need my wheelchair, you know, but there's, and so there's no denying it. And so that's where I, you know, I've come into an issue where people underestimate my talent. They underestimate my education. They underestimate my background just because they see a wheelchair.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll come back to this movie because it's the most recent one that I've seen. But Christmas Ever After, uh, the way that Allie, only because I'm a fan of her from Glee, I'll admit, like I loved her in Glee, but I was like, I was curious. First of all, I was again a sucker for the movies, but I was like, I wonder how she's gonna play the character. I wonder how they put the script together, and are they going to be like, I'm in a wheelchair and I'm gonna find love? But no, she was like, I'm a writer looking for love. And watch her. Let me just say, I thought it was so hot the way she maneuvered her chair around. I was like, girl, like I can't walk that easily sometimes. Like it was really cool. So anyway,
Right.
go watch it. For those of you that are watching that have not had a chance to be around people who are in a wheelchair, watch it just to get an idea of like how talent and being in a wheelchair don't block each other. They actually can work with each other. So go check it out. Go check it out. All right. So we're at 15 minutes till the end of the hour. This is about the time that I asked my guest, uh, Jonni Campbell, will you? What words of wisdom do you have for the audience watching?
Not to let other people's views hold you back, you know, not to let the world hold you back. Because oftentimes, you know, especially, you know, like I said, people underestimate me before they even know me just because they know that I have a disability. And I know that that can go across the board to a lot of other things, not just being in a wheelchair, but no matter what it is. Oftentimes, you know, the world judges us before we even have a chance to represent ourselves or explain ourselves or whatever, especially in nowadays where we're bombarded by social media and images and all that. So oftentimes people have like this pre-canned idea of what we are or what we're supposed to be. And I say, forget all that and just do and be whatever it is that you want to be. And where, you know, as long as, you know, you're true to yourself, like that's the best thing that you can ever do for yourself.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And speaking of social media, here is the website, and I'm going to show you guys their website. Here we go. And can you walk us through the homepage and tell us what we see, what we can find?
Yeah, and it's definitely, it's a work in progress. We're in the process right now of kind of rebuilding our website. So if you come back and look at it here soon, it'll see other things. But we have a little bit on here about our history, how long we've been involved, some information there, like with those numbers that I was sharing with you, a way to donate to our organization. We are 100% donation based and 100% volunteer based, meaning we don't have any paid staff within our organization right now. Everyone is volunteer. Yeah. So, and we're just trying to, you know, shed a light and bring some representation to underrepresented groups.
Cool. And you have some projects coming up next year.
Yes, yeah. We're going to be doing because we've just recently moved into an actual space. We were based kind of out of my bedroom for the first few years. So now we're actually in a space where we can do productions. And so this next year we'll be doing a play in May called Dead Certain. And then we'll also be doing one play for sure in the fall, possibly two. We're debating on if we're going to add like a holiday, something special for the holidays next year, or just do the one play, which we'll be deciding that within this next week. We're planning on having all the information out for our next year here pretty soon. And we'll be updating. Those are all of last year's donors. And so here within the next couple weeks, we'll be putting together our list for all of 2023's donors. So that way they'll be up there on our website all of 2024, just to show our appreciation for those that support us and believe in us and, kind of help us get by, because none of this could happen without the support that I've gotten from the community and from donors. That's and some sponsors. We're lucky in this last couple of years we've had a couple small sponsors, and so yeah.
Cool. And for everybody watching, share this, and there on the screen is the PayPal and the Venmo links. Any donations are welcome, so please. If you haven't donated this year to anybody else, here's an opportunity to help not just the arts, but the disabled community. So help them be able to perform. I don't know. I don't have a tagline for that. I didn't prepare it, but that sounded pretty good. So go help people. Donate money. Give your money away and make sure we need more art in this world. So go do that. And I'm showing the Facebook page, which was one of the first things that we talked about earlier today. Mm-hmm. So here's the Facebook page. And then you can, from the web page, you can connect to all of the other social media pages. So follow them everywhere. Tell them you saw it on this show and share it with everybody. We still have about 8 minutes. Is there anything I didn't ask that you would like to share before we go?
Thank you for our Facebook. We got a Facebook page. We got a couple groups, private group, a public group, where we, share local casting calls and some national casting calls, because we do have some people in there that are from outside the state. We're based in Arizona right now, but we do try to, share casting information from various sources for everywhere, not just in Arizona, as far as projects go. So
nice. And I don't know if I didn't ask you about this and you didn't mention it, but silent auction.
Yeah, we're going to be having a silent auction March 19th, spring fling art thing. So nice. It's going to be on the first day of spring. And we have some statues that have been donated and some paintings that have been donated. And so we're really kind of excited to kind of start gearing up for that.
Sweet. Are you accepting donations for the silent auction?
Yes. We are accepting donations for the silent auction as far as any art pieces. And then also we do other small events regularly throughout the year. So we're always accepting raffle prizes or anything like that. We love to help, promote anything that other people have going on also. So any kind of cross collaboration, or if somebody, we rent out our space for people that are doing their own recordings, or if you're doing like a book signing or you need a meeting room or something like that, our space is available to rent. Or, we're starting to put together a lot more now that we actually have a space to be working out of. And so we're very excited. But yeah, we're always looking for donations, of monetary donations or raffles or anything like that, any kind of ideas that anybody has too, that of art projects or something like that they're wanting to promote, get out there, new plays, new music, anything.
Cool. And the next time I'm in Phoenix, I'll make sure to make a detour and visit you
Yeah.
in person. I would love to come and see it. I've got some connections. I have somebody I want to connect you with after we'll talk after the show. But for everybody watching, we have been talking with Jonni Campbell today about differently able entertainment. If you want more information, if you want to connect, anywhere in the country, here is the website. Go check them out. If you're on Facebook, go check them out on Facebook and connect with them, follow them. Donate if you can. If you're in the area, support the local arts by donating to their silent auction, by coming to see the shows. Maybe you can donate for the shows, whatever it is you can do. If you want to volunteer, get in touch with her. I'm sure she'll. I volunteer at our local theater in Laguna Beach. So I can tell you firsthand, it is so exciting to volunteer at a theater. Plus, I get
so
to watch all the
needed.
shows. Plus, I get to watch all the shows, which I'm a theater freak, so I love it. So we're different.
Yeah, and we never have enough volunteers. And yeah, exactly. If you volunteer, then you get to do all the shows and stuff for free. And you don't have to be the actor or be the person on stage. That's what people oftentimes they're like, oh, well, I don't want to be the person on the front. And it's like, well, really, we really need a lot more people in the back. So, and that's what people oftentimes don't realize is how much, and how important, the backstage and back end of thing volunteers are. They're invaluable. They're just like so needed.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I'm usually at the concession stand, but I love because it's a great chance to meet people, and then you get to tell them like, hey, like, can you donate some more money? Like, yes, I'll sell you that bar of chocolate for $20, please.
Yes.
We'll use that money, sir. Please come back and bring some folks with you. Maybe the next time you have a show ready to promote, or if Mike Ray wants to come along, we could do a panel or something. I would love to host that for y'all, and just let me know and come back on the show.
Yeah, that would be fabulous.
All right, cool. Any last thoughts before I send you to the room?
No, but just thank you. I guess how I put it together, even though sometimes I don't think that I really have it all together. I know I don't, but we're trying. It's a work in progress.
Some days I wake up like I'm a puzzle put together, and the other days I'm like, it's like two different puzzles pieces all in one box, and like I have no idea what's going on. But thank you so much for sharing the information, being so open, and I'm gonna put you in the room for a bit, and I'll be back for you in just a second while I say goodbye.
All right,
everybody.
thank you.
Thank you. For everyone watching, thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you were able to be here and sharing questions. Please share this on your Facebook, LinkedIn, and X pages so that other folks can watch along with you. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to scroll down, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It'll let you know when there's new shows on the air. We've also got things that are regular commercials for the week. Still in time. If you want to buy Grumpy Bunny and the Colors game, we've got it in English and Spanish. It is delivered, $25 signed and delivered. All you got to do when you order it at littlemexicanproductions.com, Grumpy Bunny, make sure you give me the name of the person to whom it goes, and we'll make sure we get those out. If you're in the Orange County area, it is at both Awakening stores in Laguna Hills and Costa Mesa. It's at Village Well Books and Coffee in Culver City. So make sure you go ask for it there. Also, if you're looking for some coaching, transpersonal coaching sessions, give us a call. Both Christian and I are offering sessions. Email us at danielgarza@littlemexicanproductions.com. We got one-on-one groups, team building workshops, and in person. And if you go to my Facebook page, I just did a conference, and it went really well. If you're looking for intuitive services professional, Richard Wayne Kilgo II is at Awakenings at 25260 La Paz Road in Laguna Hills, California. You can contact him at 949-457-0797 or on his webpage at rwk2.com. And we've been talking, for those of you that know Richard Wayne Kilgo, we've been talking about bringing back zodiacs for the new year. He's really killing it with his sound bath sessions, and those are on Fridays. Police is coming, and so we've been looking for a new day to do our shows. So those will be coming up. I believe that my end of the year zodiac and horoscopes for the new year will be probably Friday, December 22nd. So keep an eye out for that invitation. It'll be an hour in English and then an hour in Spanish. This will be the first year we're doing it in Spanish too. So make sure you keep out for those invitations. Remember, it's a full hour live of your horoscopes for 2024. And then on December 26th, stay tuned for my birthday. We'll probably be doing a live stream show while I talk about the year in review and cut my cake and have Christian sing happy birthday. So pay attention to all those. He just coughed. He's sitting at the other room, so he just laughed at that. But yes, I will make him sing. For now, I want to thank our guest, Jonni Campbell, for being on the show. Thank all of you for joining us. And we'll see you next time. And hey, how do you put it together? See you next time. Bye-bye.